Pack 2 Pure Nebraska. Wednesdays here on the program, we like to hear from a representative from the Farm Women's Group, Common Ground.
The group is working hard to get a positive message out to consumers about the world of conventional agriculture. So joining us now with more is CommonGround Volunteer Dawn Caldwell, and thank you for being here today.
Hey, Dawn.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, busy time for you?
You know what, summer always is. All year is, but summer especially, it seems like.
You have both kids going to school, going to college, right?
Yeah, so we head off to college shortly, and county fairs are happening, and state fairs coming up, and all the extra summer yard work, pasture work, everything that happens right now.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about some of the fairs. Are you guys always involved with your county fair?
We have been. I have been my whole life. My mom, my grandpa. So my kids are at least fourth generation 4-Hers, and it's something we grew up with. I did extension right out of college, so they were born. Katie was at a fair when she was 3 days old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do they show livestock too?
They do. We've always done beef cattle, and the big treat was to take swine the last year in 4-H, and it was my fault we didn't do that before. I think that was the funnest project we ever did.
Oh,
so
good.
we should have done it before.
That's what we're involved with right now with Pick a Pig. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And so you know then what your kids are gaining from doing this. Oh my gosh, the responsibilities they learn. And so when people go to fairs, I just wish they would ask the kids, go up and ask, what did it take to get here? You know, how long have you been working on this? And it's months, if not a whole year ahead of time.
What I've noticed as well is the kids really learn a lot when they're doing these projects. Don't you think? Like, what are some of the things they learn?
You know, I've seen all sorts of lists and blogs right now. 'Tis the season for 4-H blogs. And, you know, you see everything from responsibility to learning how to give something up. If it's a market animal, it's become somewhat of a pet, but with the understanding that, you know, it will become food, too, for people. And, you know, then there's the whole idea that if you have somewhere to go in the morning, your chores still have to be done first. And if you want your animal to be presented and be your teammate in the show ring, if you will, it takes hours of practice at home by yourself, and that's not always so fun. You know, if you have a sibling or parents that work with you, that's good, but it's a lot of time alone in the barn, brushing and walking those animals and rinsing the steers and heifers every day, or, you know, whatever you do with chickens. I don't know what chicken kids do every day, but they have their projects as well. And this year, unfortunately, just posters to go to the fair, but you know, there's time spent with these critters to get them to look like they do when they get to fair, which is much different than what our cows in the pasture look like.
And that's a good point you bring up. No chickens at the fair?
No, which is kind of disappointing. I always think they're sort of fun to look at, especially I feel safe when they're in a cage. I can do anything around cattle, and I'm terrified of birds, so I don't know why.
Yeah.
I know some of the 4-H organizations, though, have done videos where they've shown their birds and brought them to the fair on a video.
They record at home, or they do a poster, or the other thing they've done so they can do a real showmanship, which is the presentation of the bird, and it's more about the kid than the animal. They use a stuffed pretend chicken so that the youth can go through the process of talking that bird and explaining the body parts and the functions and food and those sorts of things.
And don't you think, too, that 4-H really puts a positive image on farming?
Absolutely, it does. And you know, everything from, your kids have probably done this with their swine, then they have to go through a quality assurance process to be able to show at the fair. So they know how to give shots correctly, they know how to feed and water correctly, they know about proper temperature, if the animal's comfortable or not, loading and unloading, all those things. And so the kids know how to do things right. And that carries on if they become producers down the road. If they're going to have a hog farm or a cattle farm or chickens, they know the correct way. And they're presented so well when they do get to county fair. The animals are all clean and they're well cared for and they're under fans, and they get a pretty good life.
The fair is a nice place for all kinds of things. That's
It is good, and a great place for anyone who doesn't know to challenge those kids and ask them questions.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah,
I like
Dawn,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Always
Thanks,
good to
Dawn,
have
for being
you.
here today. All right.